Welcome back, folks, to the Get a Grip on Lighting podcast. On today's show, we have Tony Lawrence. That's right, coming back in hot. But before we get to him, Greg, we got to talk about Nailed's 2023 membership drive, brother.
That's right. We got a lot of action coming their way and your way, so be ready for it and be aware of what Nailed has going on and be a part of it because you
Yeah,
can be and you should be.
that's right. And, Tony Lawrence has been on the show before. He's an entrepreneur, technologist, and a prophet of quantum possibilities through his current role as CEO of Lightrider. Tony is a service-disabled veteran of the U.S. Army who began his career being recruited into the intelligence field by the National Security Agency. Serving in multiple high-profile roles, Tony gained invaluable experience in counterterrorism and threat analysis, as well as tracking high-value targets and tactical intelligence collection. Ooh, this is a long one. I want to try to sum it up a little bit here. He started in the military, and then he was part of a team that invented LiFi or built LiFi. He's going to tell us a little bit more about it. But with Lightrider, with years of R&D and investment in quantum technologies and applications, Tony created Lightrider, a quantum communications company focused on the nexus of quantum-based encryption and communications and light fidelity LiFi technology. Using LiFi and quantum encryption, Lightrider's mission is to provide unhackable communications to the planet at a price they can afford. With product lines covering encrypted storage, secure communications, networking, and infrastructure, Lightrider has already captured the attention of emerging security and communications outlets across the healthcare, military, education, government, contracting, and verticals. And we're going to get into it in 1 second, but we got to go to KEYSTONETECH.com, Greg Garrick, first.
That's right. First, you go there. If you need an LED tube, you need an LED fixture, they've got it. Color selectable, wattage selectable, making it easy.
So we're getting easy. We're here with the big easy Tony Lawrence, and we're about to take a trip into the Matrix. What's happening, Tony?
All right. Hey, it is a pleasure to be back with you, gentlemen. Really enjoyed the last conversation we had. I've been hearing nothing but great things across the lighting community. So yeah, here at Light Rider, we've done a lot of our R&D. Things have changed. We're not offering quantum Li-Fi anymore. We're now calling our solution quantum light. All right. As soon as that light bulb comes on, boom, you got quantum information flowing to your device, your tablet, your phone, your computer, any sort of IoT device. We're streaming quantum keys and quantum entropy to your device while providing you internet service. Now, right behind me, we have one of our demonstration units, or one of our quantum light lamps. And these lamps stream quantum keys. And you might be wondering, what are quantum keys? So recently, President Biden, has issued an executive order for quantum computing, right? They're calling it the post quantum cryptography executive order. And what's happening here is the president and the National Security Council are preparing the entire nation for the potential attack or potential exploitation from a quantum computer, whether that quantum computer comes from Russia or China. One day, our adversaries are going to have a working computer, quantum computer. And with that computer, they can hack any system we have here currently in the United States. So, what the president's doing is he's using quantum keys and quantum cryptography to protect our websites, our critical infrastructure. And he stood up a new organization called the CISA, the Cybersecurity Infrastructure Security Agency. So CISA is responsible for pushing quantum encryption across the government. Now, here in the United States, we're really good at software, right? We're not so good at making cell phones. We're not so good at making computers, and we're kind of good at making vehicles, right? But software is our way of stopping these quantum computers. Here at Lightrider, we've just through analysis, we realized that, hey, here in America, we're amazing at making light bulbs. You guys know this. That's something that we do the best here in the United States. So what we've done is we've integrated quantum computing, quantum technologies, and light bulbs, and we're able to mass produce these quantum light bulbs and distribute them across the United States to protect Americans against quantum computers. So any questions, gentlemen?
Okay,
That's
hang
good
on,
enough for you.
hang on a second here. Hang on. So, all right, so hang on. You're saying the new battlefield is between the demon that Elon Musk said was summoned from the underworld, this AI demon, this quantum computer demon that they've created, and Russia's working on it, and China's working on it, and this
Yes.
is the a major security threat to the lives and livelihood of American citizens.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying.
And so the theater of war is now digital.
That's right. It's here in the homeland, and it's already been happening. You've been seeing cybersecurity attacks every day in the news. I mean, multiple times per day. Hospitals being attacked, children dying in hospitals because cybersecurity is such a huge problem.
But don't they
And
know
that's
where these
not
attacks are coming from? Don't they know who's doing these attacks?
and that's the difficult a great question. That's the difficult part about cyber warfare is because it's difficult to attribute an attack to a specific actor. They can hide themselves online. Think about it right now. You ever use these dating apps? You ever talking to someone on these dating apps? You really don't know who you're talking to on the other side of that message. And that's what's happening in cyberspace. People are attacking, pretending to be the North Koreans or pretending to be the Russians, while all the time it's the Chinese. It's difficult, almost impossible, to attribute a cyber attack to a specific bad actor.
That's so. First of all, I'm married many years. I was married before there were dating apps, so I have no idea what you're talking about with that regard. I speak for
Well,
Greg Eric in that one too. But yes, I'm sure it's very much like that. But the the dating, that's hilarious. So the Chinese are using Tinder of course they would. Why wouldn't they? But
basically,
here's my next question, and before we get back sort of into lighting, I want to truly understand this. And so the US is under attack by
yes.
sophisticated actors worldwide. We're uncertain as to the origin of these attacks, but we likely believe them to be from the Chinese. But because we don't know for sure, we're not considering these attacks acts of war.
So it's very interesting. Cyber attacks, according to the Pentagon, cyber attacks are on par with nuclear attacks, right?
Hmm.
So yeah, oh
It's a
yeah,
weapon of
yeah.
mass destruction in a
It's a
way.
weapon of mass destruction. That's what. Imagine if somebody hacked in and destroyed the power grids in New
Hmm.
York City, right?
Hmm.
Immediately, you have the loss of life. Hacking into dams, overflowing dams, shutting dams off, um, contaminating water supplies.
Hmm.
Pushing in chemicals into water supply that doesn't belong there. These things can, be associated with a large loss of life here in the United States.
Hmm.
And CISA's job is to stop these things from happening. They're doing an amazing job. These guys are doing an amazing job, but there's going to be very stringent policy coming from the White House to companies, government organizations that if they don't comply with the rules around PQC, they're going to be in big trouble, right? There is no ifs, ands, or buts about this. It is going to happen, and it has to happen in order to save American lives.
So, and this executive order, this is going to affect manufacturers, businesses. Like, how is it a
Yes,
blanket one that
yes.
crosses all businesses? What is it?
Yeah, so currently by the year 2024, CISA and NIST, the Standards Agency for the Government, they're going to pass rules, software. They're going to push software. They're going to give it out for free to everyone. And government organizations, commercial organizations, must install this software onto their systems, onto their websites. They need to put this PQC software throughout their systems to protect their systems against a quantum computer. Now, 2024 is when the standards are issued. Organizations have about 5 or 6 years to comply with it. But by 2030, the president is mandating that everyone has PQC algorithm software on their device. So this is your cell phone, your tablet, your computer. If you have servers, cloud servers, any sort of Internet of Things device must have this PQC software.
That wasn't debated by the Congress? It sounds pretty invasive to me,
It was a
actually.
unanimous decision. Unanimous, because
Wow.
because they understand. So there's a lot of classified things going on
Yeah,
here, you
sure.
guys. The National Security Agency, the Central Intelligence Agency, the agencies are collecting intelligence, from China, from Russia, from these different places, and they know the plans and intentions of our adversaries. They know if China's going to attack us. They know if Russia is going to attack us. And we're seeing that right now with Russia and Ukraine. There's already military actions taking place on the other side of the world. And that, we're not excluded from that just because we're Americans. We can very well be, susceptible to an attack, especially in cyberspace.
Nobody would attack America militarily directly. Nobody would do that. That's a really stupid idea. So, of course, they would attack in these clandestine ways. Of course, they
That's
would
right.
attack like that. No, but this is the most powerful military country that's ever existed in the history of the world. I think America's military is, the Marines are the second most powerful military in the world after the U.S. Army or
I
something
agree.
like that.
The Marines are
You know what
bad.
I
No,
mean?
the Marines,
It's
they take the cake. I
uh,
deployed with Marines to Iraq
okay.
and Afghanistan. I mean, the Marines, they were doing cyber operations back in 2008, 2007 with Pringle cans and wires. I mean, these guys were just putting together collection systems out
Mm.
of trash and using it to action targets, using it to kill bad guys.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that the Marines are probably more just the Marine Corps in the Navy is probably could
Mhm.
kick any other army in the world's ass. You understand what I'm
Oh yeah,
saying? In an
I do. I do.
expeditionary force, like we come to our country,
Yes.
to your country, and we land our boats, and 6 months later we're in charge of the whole country. Like that's
Yeah, I
very
agree with you.
powerful expeditionary force. No other country
True.
has that. No other
I
country
agree.
has that kind of force. So, of course, they're going to attack you on the side. Greg, bring us back to lighting here, man. This is such a crazy
All right,
conversation.
here's where the lighting comes into play, you guys. Here's
Okay,
where the
okay.
lighting comes into play. We're going to make this real easy for you. So, we just talked about the software that the White House is pushing out, the PQC software. Everybody has software. The advanced cybersecurity companies, the folks that really know what they're doing, they're already creating PQC software. They're submitting it to the government. They're doing a lot of good things so they can meet the president's objectives. Here at Lightrider, what we're doing is we're using that same software, that same exact software, but guess what? We're pushing it through light bulbs, right? We're pushing it through light bulbs. So
Hmm.
you get the software from the light bulb, it goes to your computer, it goes to your tablet, it goes to your phone. And in order to use your computer, tablet, or phone, guess what? You got to be underneath a specific light bulb. You got to be underneath this light bulb. If you're not underneath that light bulb, then your devices won't work. So what we've done is we've taken something that's digital, something that's in cyberspace, and we've combined it with something that we use everywhere in our homes, our offices, and we tethered the two together. So you can't have, you can't have your computer without being underneath a specific light bulb. And the same thing applies to software, right? We have programs that are linked to the light bulbs. So if you're not underneath this specific light bulb, you won't be able to open up your Facebook. You won't be able to open up your Instagram, things like that. And that's what we're doing to protect our users' data. By the year 2024, probably June 2024, you'll be seeing our technology in Best Buy and Home Depot. We're already working with major realtors, major construction companies right now. And they're looking at buying a large amount of our light bulbs and putting them into new construction. So soon you're going to see wireless fidelity or Wi-Fi, which is very unsecure. You're going to see that transition out, and you're going to see quantum light transition in.
What if you turn the light bulb off?
So we have an infrared back. Great question. We have an infrared backup channel, right? So we broadcast in infrared. In the technology that we're using is very similar to the technology used for a TV remote. Very, very similar.
Hmm.
I mean, it's more advanced, but in theory, is very similar. So yeah, it works without visible light. Visible light is great because you can see your data, right? And with our lights, if the lights start to flicker, things like that, hey, something's wrong with my access point. Something's wrong with this device. You know immediately. And the light's the best way to pass quantum keys, right? We can pass quantum keys through the light. Our lights can connect to a quantum computer. As a quantum computer is advanced, they get to 100 qubits, 500 qubits, 1,000 qubits. Since we're sending light, we're able to connect the computers and the lights so the information from the quantum computer can seamlessly flow through light
What's a
bulbs.
qubit? What the hell's a qubit? I thought
Oh,
that's how Noah built his ark. Didn't Noah build his ark by the qubit? I don't know. What's a qubit?
Yeah, it's a quantum bit. It's a quantum. So with
It's like a
your
trillion
traditional
million bits or something.
something like that, something
Yeah.
like that. So let's say we had a coin, right? And you're using a coin. So heads will be the equivalent of one, tails will be the equivalent of zero. So with your standard computers, your standard technology, what you're looking at on the screen, what you're hearing, all of that information is being sent through zero and one, right? It's either going to be a zero or one. There's two states for conventional information.
Hmm.
What quantum does is it uses photons or electrons and it adds an extra state, an extra bit. So imagine spinning that coin. And that's what happens with qubits, right? A qubit is basically the equivalent of you spinning a coin. When that coin lands, it can land on heads, it can land on tails, or it can keep spinning. So with quantum information, we're able to send information in three or more states. In quantum computers, advanced quantum computers, can send information or compute information in thousands of different states, right? Thousands of different bits are used. So think of those quantum bits as qubits.
So, and then when the light is transmitting these, okay, so you're transmitting it through the light. It's connected to a Li-Fi receiver on the device or whatever it is. Like,
Yes.
is there just zeros and ones all through the air like the Matrix? Is like if the
It's
light's cut.
exactly what it looks like.
Oh
Yeah,
my
that's what it
God!
is.
You can't do this.
Yeah, yeah. The more lights that you have, the more matrix like it is, and it's cool. So we work with quantum computers, right? We're working with Microsoft Azure. They have great quantum computers. Rigetti has a quantum computer there. IMQ has a quantum computer there. What we're doing is we go on the website, we go to Microsoft website, and we use our software developers, and we're creating code, right? We're analyzing the background noise coming from those quantum computers, and we're writing advanced APIs, right? And advanced applications that transform that quantum data from those computers into light waves. So we send them through lights. And this stuff isn't difficult to do. We're working with high schools, we're working with colleges, we're working with a lot of different organizations, teaching them how to do these things. In the quantum world, it's all about innovation, right? Doesn't matter how much money you have, it's about how creative you are and how well you assess a problem and how well you innovate around that problem.
The so now I want to get back to the zero and the ones. Is the internet signal itself is in the light? Can that signal itself be made intelligent so that when you're
Yeah.
in the light, the internet knows who it is by gait or facial recognition or something like that? Is that
Yes.
a possibility with this?
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely a possibility. And we see huge potential in the virtual reality market, right? So when you're sending information through the light, you're sending it at the speed of light. So we're
Mm,
able to send VR data. Um, Elon Musk has the chip that you can put in your brain.
mm-hmm.
Those sort of technologies, just normal one and zero communications aren't going to allow those technologies to flourish. But when you're using quantum communications and you're sending information at the speed of light, those technologies can reach their full potential. So, yeah, computation can occur as the light's moving from the ceiling to your device. It can happen between, right? We could send a signal from the light, a signal from the device. They can compute in the air. There's a lot of different things we can do. And it's all about like you just had a great idea, right? So if I were you, I would invest in that ideal. I'll put some money into that ideal.
Me?
I'll hire developers.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a quantum application. That's an
Okay.
application that I can use with my technology right now. And
Mm-hmm.
that's just how easy this is. This technology is at the elementary stage. It's where Apple was when they first created one of their iPod. It's where Mac. It was when Macintosh when they first created their first computers. When Windows, when Bill Gates first created his technology. That's the level that this is at. And as we develop it, we develop it in our image. However, we see this technology advances is what's going to occur. So it's a great time to be alive. It's a great, if people want to buy these, you can buy them today. We have kits and things. We're working with Orion Lighting. Orion is a fantastic partner, great guys. We're working with Orion to push this technology out across the country, government offices, universities, research labs. We've already altered our technology and it's compatible with Orion's patented retrofit troffer. Orion's trophers are amazing, and they're great chassis for our quantum
So
computers, our
hang on,
quantum
hang on,
light
hang
tech.
on. You don't even you
Yes,
can just empower an LED light fixture to deliver this Li-Fi signal. You can with
that's right. Yes, we
with a
can.
piece inside of it, like a
Yes,
component
yes,
piece.
yes. Any
That goes
5 watt
for
or higher
anybody's
light bulb.
fixtures.
Any 5 watt or higher light bulb. Correct. Yes,
5 watt or higher.
yes.
Why 5 watt?
So the intensity. So in order to get 10 to 12 foot range, we have to have at least 5 watts to push the signal. Because for our purposes, light is a signal, right? It's how we're
Mm.
communicating. So yeah. So the higher the wattage, the further the range of the device.
I think for all purposes, light is a signal.
I
Um,
agree. I agree. I agree.
yeah. So, okay. So I'm reminded. You know Marshall McLuhan, the media is the message guy. You ever heard of that guy? The media is the message.
No, I
He had
haven't heard of
he had another quote. It was, "We become what we behold. First, we shape technology, and then technology shapes us."
I
Um,
love it. I love it.
we're it seems like you're saying that this is the promised land, or it's a to me it might be a precipice. I don't know, Tony. I'm not so certain about all this matrix stuff. But what you're saying is that this opens up all sorts of possibilities. But to for development of crazy beyond our wildest imagination technologies. Like it's really on the
That's right.
where we're our with virtual reality, augmented reality, all sorts of different things.
Yeah.
And I'm sure this is not the conspiracy theory podcast, so we could have people talk about the other side of that. But let me ask you this: it is sort of introduced though with a dark side in that there's a possible future war in this arena. Um,
We're
how
already at war. We're
okay.
already at war right now. We are. We are at war. In the war, as we talked about earlier, the war is occurring in a clandestine manner. It's happening in cyberspace, but it's only a matter of time before it goes kinetic, right? Until people start, until somebody sends drones over, or we send drones over, right? You guys know the Terminator. Remember the Terminator, the
Sure,
War of the
yes,
Yep.
Machines?
sure.
And that's the day, that's the time and age that we're in. We're seeing it start in cyberspace. We're using quantum encryption, quantum cryptography to protect ourselves against future computers, right? Computers that don't even work yet. But the government's already spent around $100 billion to protect us against computers that don't even work yet, right?
Mm.
So you're talking with quantum technologies, they're sending light into the past. They're sending photons, light particles into the future, right? So these things are very similar to Terminator and the Matrix. That's the age in which we live in today.
Okay, so we just exited the Get a Grip on Lighting podcast, and we landed squarely in a science fiction movie. How so? I like so this technology. There's no stopping it already. It already has its own life force in a way. It's already coming
It does.
because
It does.
the naked apes are competing to create this demon or whatever to fight
Yes.
each other in the cyber world, and that means anything that's connected. It's interesting. Like, the human brain signal is really just another radio wave in a sense, right? Um,
Exactly.
that's how the brain. And so you have this idea that Li-Fi could connect to your brain directly. Never mind Neuralink or anything like that. Why would they even need an implant? Is sort of to me seems kind of the implant is to learn how to do it without the implant. That's the whole point.
That's right.
How do we how to have you guys talked with ethicists and people that look at this from a different perspective in terms of um, privacy amongst users, right? So you're talking about a real estate space that allows you to access the internet, that is like being in the matrix. Where does that data go? Who controls it, and why are and how are they protecting it? There's my question. Where does the data that they're going to
That's a
collect
good
go?
question. So yeah, so the data right now, a lot of the data is going into the cloud, right? The government just issued a lot of large contracts. I believe it was the JEDI contract. They issued eight, nine awards to huge companies, right? So right now, a lot of the data is going into the clouds. But if I had it my way, the data will be going into the lights, stored into the lights, moved through the lights, right? Because it's more secure. You don't want to put your data, your brain waves, your pertinent information, even your financial information. You don't want to dump it into a server where there's a ton of other information, right? Yeah, it doesn't make sense because if a hacker gains access to one pot of data, they gain
Yeah,
access to all the data, right?
exactly.
So I'm not a big fan of those contracts. Hopefully, with fiber optic communications, right? So my technology is a wireless version of fiber optics. So as fiber optics becomes more prevalent, you have hollow core fiber. Hollow core fiber can move information at the same rate as free space communications. So hollow core fiber is the future and is very advanced. But as fiber is laid throughout the country, you won't need data storage would change, right? Information doesn't have to rest. Information can keep moving. It can keep moving through the lights. It can keep moving through fiber optics. And if it keeps moving, it's going to be very difficult for our adversaries to gain access to it. It'll be impossible for them to get. They have to hunt it down, like a dog will hunt a rabbit or a chicken. So as the new technological infrastructure becomes more robust, more prevalent, then we have different means of storing and sending information. It doesn't have to be just the cloud.
So you mentioned that if you had it your way, it would be in the light itself. So what happens
Yes.
when the light, if that does happen, what happens when the light goes out, or if you move the light? Does it stay with the light?
Yes. Yes. It'll stay
Die with
with
the
the
light?
lights.
Does it
Die
die
with
with
the
the light?
light. It could
Is that
it
a
could
good
if
thing?
you wanted to, or you can back it up. It just depends on what you want. So we have connected lights. Connected lights is a huge feature that I offer my customers. You'll be able to turn the lights on and off through your computer. You'll also be able to store up to a terabyte worth of data inside your light. And if you have other lights connected to that network, guess what? Those lights all share the data, right? So instead of having a cloud system that's far away or in Virginia at a data center or something somewhere, you'll have a cloud lighting system inside of your home. Everything stays inside of your home. It never needs to leave.
Amazon Web
So
Services stock just went down by 50% or something.
It did? Oh, because
No, like I mean, if like what you're saying is true, like a terabyte of data, I mean, per whatever 5 watts of light or whatever the long, like I'm not talking about tomorrow, but in long term, it looks like Azure and all these cloud companies. It depends if the applications can run. I mean, how does it, you know?
they're going to go down. The cloud, it's not secure, right? It's not.
Mhm,
Imagine like that's just a honeypot for a quantum computer, right?
mhm.
Somebody gets a quantum computer working, their first target is going to be a large repository of cloud data, probably owned by the U.S. government, right?
Yeah,
So
sure.
they're going to target those things immediately. So it's just not smart. You need to originally distributed computing allowed the government, large businesses to use computers for advanced tasks across multiple nodes. So with cloud computing, and this is something Amazon came up with. They brought it into NSA, they briefed everyone. They said, hey, let's store data this way as well. Let's store data across different nodes. And that advanced into cloud data centers. And now you have huge buildings that are just huge storage repositories of data. And it at first it was cost effective, but today storing data is cheap, right? You guys, if you want to go to Best Buy and buy a terabyte hard drive, it costs you $50,
Yeah.
$40, and you can store tons of data. So today, it just makes more sense to store your own data, protect your own data. You don't have to worry about the Chinese or these quantum computers, right? Your data's in your home, your data's at your office, it's locked up, right?
Mhm. Sure.
It just makes more sense to transition away from the cloud.
I would see this starting with, the first customers have to be like the major defense contractors after the government, like
Yes, I
Northrop
agree.
Grumman and these types of companies that are developing very high end technologies. Because we know I think they're already disconnected, but the light you're saying is inherently more secure because it's geographically located somewhere. The data is not
Exactly.
being sent away, And in order to
Exactly.
log on, there's a very strict protocol related to the light in the room and the device. Is that correct? Do I understand that?
Exactly. That's right. You're right. That's it.
Huh.
Can you have multiple, like take an office, you can have all four lights tied together so I can move my computer under each one? Or do you have to, does each
Exactly.
one act? Okay, you can tie them
Yeah.
together then.
Yeah, you connect very similar to Wi-Fi. So with our system, you connect once and that's it, right? So with Wi-Fi, you have to connect multiple
Yeah,
times,
yeah.
or you have the log on sequence is happening in the background. You click log in automatically. With ours, you don't have to worry about that. Once you connect to a light bulb, that's your light bulb. Your communications flow through seamlessly. The quantum key synchronization that's happening in the background, it happens automatically. You don't see, and since it's moving through light, it's happening really fast. There's no delays. So by March, our technology will be moving at internet speeds. A year from that date, it'll be moving at twice the speed, and it continually gets faster and faster and faster. As these things happen, we can send more information through the lights. We can send your entire operating system through the light. The entire computer will be in the light, so on and so forth. So there is no limit to how fast we could send data. As quantum computers become more advanced and they move from 500 qubits to 1,000 qubits, our lights will be able to keep up, right? They will be able to keep pushing information from those quantum computers through the lights into businesses, into people's homes to protect them against the threat of a quantum computer.
So, um, go ahead, Greg. If you have, I have another
Uh,
question to ask him here, but
yeah, just curious, why did you guys drop the name Li-Fi? You know, at the beginning you mentioned that you got rid of that term, now you're quantum light.
Yeah, quantum light. Our technology is completely different than Li-Fi.
Got it.
It's nothing like Li-Fi. Originally, we used the term Li-Fi because it was closely related to what we're doing. But you guys, I didn't start with light bulbs. I started with two lasers, a whole room full of equipment, spectrum analyzers, um, guidance point, just huge, just amounts of equipment, just like your traditional quantum computing laboratories today, right? But I was doing this stuff back in 2014, working at the National Security Agency, working at NSA. So we had amazing equipment. And one day I just went into the laboratory and I just started looking at things. I'm just like, this is too much. This is too much. And I just start throwing things away, right? Throwing things away. Just some of this equipment was $10,000. Some of it was $100,000. I didn't care. I was just, this is not realistic. And at the end, I was left with one laser and I was left with one box. And I looked at that laser and I said, I turned it upside right. And I was like, this is a light. This could be a light. And then that's where I created the quantum light technology. It wasn't it, I didn't get through this through lighting. I got through this through quantum research, quantum analysis, and quantum information science.
so I'm sitting in this room. These lights are hooked up to quantum light. That means
Yes,
anywhere that light is shining is a high speed, an incredibly high speed internet connection that's only going to get faster and faster and faster as it learns.
exactly, correct,
Any point where this light is here, it's gone.
correct. Yes.
That's wild.
And you don't have to change it in the future, like whatever so what is it that you actually put in there? Is it just a chip, or what does the actual product look like?
It's more than a chip. Well, I'm
Okay.
trying to shrink it down until it's just a
Yeah.
chip, right? There's this huge CHIPS Act. It's about $60 billion allocated to chips here in the United States. But yeah, we use about three different components: two PCB boards and a quantum chip.
From the lighting distributor perspective, Tony, who do you think is the first initial adopter of this technology that's going to run with it as a possible customer for lighting distributors?
So I believe Orion Lighting is the furthest. We've been working with them for quite some time, and after Orion, Philips signified True Li-Fi. So Philips has amazing Li-Fi technology. True Li-Fi is their company that oversees Li-Fi R&D. We're working with them as well. True Li-Fi's internet speeds are fast. They use infrared lighting to do so. Great technology, and that's working right now. Their technology works today.
If you could give us the who the early adopters would be customer wise, not just manufacturer-wise, but who do you think is going to be the first type of people that will want to purchase their technology for their business, this technology?
Great question. So the government, the United States government, foreign governments will be the first early adopters. After them, I see it being colleges, universities, and after education is going to be hospitals. I believe hospitals and emergency health organizations should be one of the first to use it because it's more secure. You won't have any drops. And in the healthcare industry, with the technology is saving people's lives. If you have a drop in communications, somebody can die. One doctor can't speak to another doctor, someone could lose their life. And that should never happen. So, with this sort of technology, I think it's going to go a long way again with the government, with academia, and with the healthcare industry.
Tony, any final thoughts for the Get a Grip on Lighting listeners to close it out?
Hey, so my final thoughts are this is a great time for the lighting community. What we're seeing here is the integration of, advanced technology with your everyday light bulb. So for innovators out there, inventors out there, this is your time to shine. Please take opportunities that are presented by quantum technologies and quantum information science and apply it anywhere you can, right? So I wish everyone luck and thank you guys again for having me.
No problem. And if you're looking for Tony Lawrence, you can check out what's your website, Tony? Lightrider.com?
It's lightrider.inc.com.
LightriderINC.com. And now we're going to check out KeystoneTech.com. That's right. KeystoneTech.com. Greg Eric.
That's right. Wattage selectable, color selectable across their product line. Make it easy to sell lighting.
So do it. Go to KeystoneTech.com. Of course, Nailed's 2023 membership drive is starting off in January. Get ready. We're coming for you, sucker. Bye.